Down at the warehouse by the docks, Spider-Man has successfully stopped Agent Venom and the new Crime Master in a single tactical strike. The Crime Master, who was unexpectedly fighting Venom at the time, is overwhelmed and ditches his goons so that he can turn himself into the police waiting outside. As he's being handcuffed, he tells the police that it's a war zone inside the warehouse. Spider-Man and Venom are out of control. Flash Thompson, Agent Venom, the newest host of the Venom symbiote, thinks to himself that this new crime master might have the right idea. "You got me," Flash tells Spider-Man. "What? You say you don't know me? Fine, but I know you, and the Spidey I know doesn't execute prisoners, does he?" "No," Spider-Man responds. "Of course not. In fact, I'm sure this can all be easily resolved. I'll need proof you're in control of the symbiote. Make it do something." "I'll try, but you hurt the symbiote with your fire and sonic webbing. Let me focus." Spider-Man waits for Flash to give him the slightest excuse, which he'll interpret as a hostile move, and then finish him off. Otto can't take the chance Flash might expose him, and, of course, Venom is a threat to human life that should have been put down long ago. Flash uses the symbiote to grab a number of smoke bombs off a weapons crate Crime Master and his men were smuggling and pulls out the pins. A thick cloud of smoke fills the air and constricts the vision of Spider-Man and his spiderlings. The spiderlings immediately raise their weapons and fire. The symbiote returns to Flash and he jumps back into action. He uses the symbiote's natural ability to cloak him from Spider-Man's spider sense, and his agility to take out a couple spiderlings and grab one of their weapons. He aims at Spider-Man and pulls the trigger, saying, "Sorry, but your guys look like they have itchy trigger fingers. So do you, to be honest. But you're supposed to be good guys, so I'll stick to stun." Spider-Man jumps to dodge the attack, and it hits one of the spiderlings in the chest, taking him out. Otto doesn't care. "Get him, fools!" he shouts. "His symbiote's weakened. He's just one man. One man who earned the Medal of Honor in combat. It's like you really don't know me at all." Agent Venom jumps up and kicks Spider-Man out of the air and then slams his gun across Spider-Man's face. "I know all I need to," Spider-Man scoffs. "I know how to hurt you." As his rage begins to grow, Spider-Man counters with another blast from his sonic gauntlets. Agent Venom dodges the attack, and instead, the sonic blast hits a box of grenades. "Where is he?" Spider-Man roars when the smoke finally clears. "You imbeciles! His symbiote can change its appearance. He can hide in the crowd. Scour the area. Interrogate everyone. Bring me the head of this Flash Thompson." Spider-Man's men march outside and interrogate everyone in the vicinity, police included. Chief Pratchett takes offense to this. Just because Spider-Man's guys lost the target doesn't mean they can take it out on Pratchett's men. I suggest you stop complaining, Pratchett, and start helping. And I suggest you remember the chief of police doesn't answer to Spider-Man. At that moment, Otto gets a call. Hello? Who is this? How did you get my secure?
Peter?
Asks a small voice.
Finally!
Ah, Anna Maria. I'm sorry, I
Took off? In the middle of...
But I had to.
Help Spider-Man. I know, but you owe me now, Slick. Big time.
Brunch with my parents. Tomorrow. They'd love to meet you. My treat.
Oh, no you don't. Food is my thing. This is my chance to wow them. You know, I better get started right now. Kissy kissy.
Kissy. Otto hangs up the phone just before being greeted by a group of his spiderlings. No luck, boss, but we'll find Venom. Should I pull some of the guys off the search for Hobgoblin? No! Spider-Man spits. You will do both, or you will know my wrath. How hard can it possibly be to find someone dressed as a goblin? Elsewhere, within the Goblin Underground, the Goblin King paces back and forth. The Goblin Knight and Menace are in attendance, and Menace seems to have brought the King a present.
Menace, my dear, I've told you how much I love this little present of yours, haven't I? Unfortunately, she's not the gift that keeps on giving. Are you, Officer Cooper? I've read that little book of yours. Love the twist ending, by the way. But it seems to me a key chapter is missing.
Carly Cooper scowls up at the King from her chair she's tied to.
I don't know what you mean. Oh, really? Your journal makes it quite clear whose mind is in Spider-Man's noggin, but not whose face is under that mask. How could you know one without the other? Speak! I don't know. Me neither. And that vexes me. And I feel like I should know. It's that maddening little itch in the back of my head that I just can't scratch.
Menace offers to take a scratch at it. After all, Carly and her are like family. Maybe if they had a little sisterly chat. The King commends this.
A capital idea. You do that, pet. See what you can learn while I'm running my errand. You two enjoy family time, while I teach the black sheep of the Goblin family a lesson.
Later, in Tribeca, within the apartment of Peter Parker, Otto and Anna Maria are just getting back from a little bit of grocery shopping. Otto opens the door, and Anna gasps. Surely there's nothing unusual here. All across the apartment are scattered computers and wires cluttering up the walkways. You know I develop equipment for Spider-Man, Otto says defensively.
There's developing, and then there's hoarding. What were you going to do? Make your poor old aunt trip over spider bots on the way to the bathroom? We have to clean this up right away.
Much of my work is at a critical stage.
Peter, if you won't do it for Aunt May, do it for me, so that I'm not worrying about it when I meet her. You want to make me happy, don't you?
Otto stutters. More than anything. Elsewhere, Flash Thompson is sneaking into the Presbyterian Hospital. He managed to escape from Spider-Man by disguising as an EMT and jumping into the back of an ambulance. Now, he's in a hospital supply closet, raiding the cabinet for drugs. He thinks to the symbiote, "I know you're hurting. Just maintain the disguise a few minutes longer. After all this time, I'm still not sure what you're made of. So just tell me if there's anything here that'll make you feel better." The symbiote rifles through the cabinet and absorbs into itself a small drug cocktail. Flash scans the room and finds a wheelchair. "Good news, buddy. You don't have to be my legs anymore. Just give me something to wear. It's a fine line between American hero and creepy naked guy. Next order of business. Find somewhere to lie low. Can't risk public places." Flash makes his way out of the hospital and overhears a number of firemen and police officers speaking about Mary Jane's club. Tonight, there's a big celebration, and cops, firemen, and first responders get in free. Which reminds Flash, he still has friends in the city he can turn to, and now he knows just where to go. Later that night, in MJ's nightclub, down in Chelsea, she welcomes one and all to the grand reopening of MJ's. As many know, they had a fire, and if not for Pedro Oliveira and the brave men and women of Ladder 22, well, not only wouldn't there be an MJ's, there wouldn't be an MJ. So, she raises a toast to the first responders of New York. The doors will always be open for them, free of charge. It's the least she can do. However, during the festivities, Mary Jane is visited by Captain Yuri Watanabe, and she's looking for Carly Cooper. Yuri informs Mary Jane Carly has gone missing, and the last call made from her phone was to her. Mary Jane explains that she has had so many messages from work and the rebuild that she didn't even think to check. So, the two go back to Mary Jane's office and listen to the message. Neither were prepared to hear what Carly had said. "Whatever you do, for your own sake, stay far away from Peter Parker." Yuri raises an eyebrow and asks Mary Jane what that could mean. Of course, Mary Jane attempts to vouch for Peter, but Yuri isn't convinced. Carly sounded afraid of him. There may be something about Parker that makes him dangerous, or possibly some secret that has meaning to both Mary Jane and Carly. Mary Jane offers to call Peter to clear things up, but Yuri'd prefer she didn't. She'd like if Mary Jane didn't mention this to anyone. Carly's safety could be at stake, and Peter Parker just became a very strong person of interest. The next morning, Otto and Anna Maria are preparing for their brunch with Aunt May and Uncle Jay, when suddenly, there's a knock at the door. "Flash Thompson?" Otto says, surprised. "I know. Last you heard, I was in Philly. I'm in town for some work and I had some time off. I would have called, but my phone died. Hey, is it cool if I hang out for a while? Catch up?" Otto excitedly agrees, and helps push Flash's wheelchair inside the apartment, calling out, "Anna Maria, this is Flash Thompson." "Flash, allow me to introduce Anna Maria Marconi." Flash nervously waves his hand. "It's a pleasure. Sorry to barge in. Me and Pete go way back." "Yes," Otto smirks. "We're longtime friends." Across town at Parker Industries, Aunt May's medical procedure is wrapping up. Dr. Wortham has successfully replaced the damaged portions of her leg with cybernetics, and everything seems to have gone smoothly. It barely took 5 minutes, and he didn't need to make an incision or even use anesthesia. And that's because it's nanotech, microscopic. There should be no discomfort whatsoever, actually. Peter really is a genius. An absent genius, comments Jay. Peter did text to make sure it went well, but after how attentive he's been lately, Jay would hate to think Peter's backsliding into his old, thoughtless ways. It's the workaholic mentality people have nowadays. His son didn't make it either. Yes, Jonah's the mayor, but Jay would love to know what he considers more important than family. Down at the former Oscorp building, current Alchemax corporate headquarters, Mayor J. Jonah Jameson is hesitant to speak. Liz Allen assures the mayor that Alchemax's head of security, Mason Banks, leads the protections against espionage, corporate and otherwise. They have the most advanced anti-threat technology in the world. "I should hope so," huffs the mayor, "because our opposition has eyes everywhere. But very well, let's cut to the chase." The mayor places his laptop on the table, unfolds it, and presses a button, projecting a hologram of a number of schematics. "These are for the city's anti-spider patrol armor, and they are inadequate. I want improvements, upgrades. Patrols won't cut it anymore. We need city-sanctioned spider slayers." With the death of both generations of spider slayer creators, and the seizure of their equipment by authorities, all their research is available to the mayor, and therefore, Alchemax. Liz Allen looks up from the projection. "Mayor Jameson, the Spider Slayer murdered your wife. Do you really want..." The mayor slams his fist on the desk. "What I want is for that monster's work to be used in the cause of justice. Listen to me. I know things about Spider-Man. He's not what he appears to be. The hero he wants the public to think he is. We need to be prepared. And if you don't want the contract, Ms. Allen, I'll find someone who does." Back in Tribeca, Aunt May and Uncle Jay have arrived for brunch. "Here you go, everybody," Anna Maria says cheerfully as she places down the food. "Wheat cakes." Aunt May shoots a beam at Peter. "What an interesting choice, dear. I found the recipe stuck to Pete's fridge, so I figured he must like it. And I'm dying to see what he thinks of my improvements." "Improvements?" Aunt May hisses. This is the recipe for her patented wheat cakes, after all. Jay bites down on the food out of courtesy. Oh my goodness. This is amazing. For the first time using the recipe. Clearly, Anna Maria worked very hard preparing all this.
Yes, of course she did.
Aunt May regrettably agrees.
And we do appreciate it.
Anna attempts to clear the air. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Peter didn't mention I'm a little person. It doesn't occur to him, which I adore. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I was wondering about, well, children. Aunt May! Otto snaps. She brought it up. I was only curious. In general terms, the kids might be like their mother? I'm not prejudiced, but you can't blame an old woman for worrying about her grandchildren. May! Otto slams his fists on the table and stands to his feet. Worrying only in the sense that I'm sure there are challenges. Flash attempts to roll his wheelchair back and away from the table. I should go. No! Peter shouts. That is to say, I have something to discuss with you, Flash. It's really a happy accident you dropped by. After Aunt May's procedure went so well, I feel I can accelerate the timetable for Phase 2. Full artificial limbs. With nowhere else to go, and Peter's insistence, Flash agrees to go to Parker Industries to undergo the test procedure. I noticed you've added to the equipment, Dr. Wortham comments. Otto responds, just some nips and tucks, last-minute improvements. I'll walk you through it when we're done. With this procedure, Flash Thompson will no longer be bound to his wheelchair, and there will be no metal plates, pins, or any of that sort of thing. Even if he is still wary, Otto tells Flash to think of all the people they will be helping if the procedure is successful. Just before the procedure begins, Otto walks out of the room, telling Dr. Wortham that he's calling in a specialist for a last-minute consultation. Of course, it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man assures the doctor that he's used this equipment in the field before. He's familiar with its quirks. Dr. Wortham has seen Spider-Man's medical skill firsthand, but in this case, excessive use of masked vigilantes could hurt their chances of PDA approval. Calm yourself, Doctor, Spider-Man responds. I'll leave the actual medicine to you. This is only a diagnostic to search Corporal Thompson's body for any anomalies. Really, just a more sophisticated form of the common ultrasound. And I can't imagine sonic imaging causing any problems. Spider-Man turns on the machine, and a bombardment of sonic rays hits Flash and causes the hidden Venom symbiote to screech out in pain. Spider-Man continues the onslaught until the symbiote separates from Flash in a search for safety, and then captures it in a containment pod. It worked! The symbiote's been extracted and contained, Spider-Man cheers. Flash jumps to his feet and grabs Spider-Man by the collar. What the hell did you do? I saved you. I removed a deadly alien symbiote from your body and gave you the gift of mobility. Or hadn't you noticed you're standing? A thunking sound echoes in the back of their conversation. The symbiote is trying to escape. Don't worry, we're safe. I based the containment unit's design on the one Reed Richards used to hold it before. Flash's rage begins to peak. You talked to Pete. Set this whole thing up. Of course. I'm sorry for the deception, but whatever you knew, the symbiote would have known. You don't understand. I had the symbiote under control, but now it's in pain, scared, isolated, and a hell of a lot stronger than you remember. At that moment, the symbiote shatters the glass of the containment unit and shoots forward, forming into a number of dagger-like tendrils. Flash tackles Dr. Wortham out of the way, and the symbiote shoots straight for Spider-Man and wraps around him, encasing him and transforming him into the superior Venom.